Scott Turner. Number 7, Anthony Thackeray. Number 19, Matty Wilde. Number 14, Frankie Mariano. Number 9, Keel Carlisle. Number 13, Richard Moore. Number 11, Michael Knowles. Number 22, Jason Walton. And number 12, John Davis. On the interchange bench for Featherstone Rovers is number 31, Corey Aston. Number 21, James Lockwood. Number 10, Andy Bostock. And number 8, Darryl Griffin. Head coach is John Sharp. Rochdale Hornets lineup is number 1, Miles Greenwood. Number 21, Jack Holmes. Number 19, Jordan Case. Number 3, Jake Eccleston. Number 5, Rob Massam. Number 6, Lewis Palfrey. Number 7, Daniel Yates. Number 15, Jovalisi Tyra. Number 9, Ben Moores. Number 10, Gavin Benyon. Number 27, Sam Wild. Number 12, Josh Crowley. And number 13, Gary Middlehurst. On the bench for Rochdale are 22, Jay Lobvine. Number 20, Jack Francis. Number 16, Matty Haddon. And number 28, Danny Bridge. And their head coach is Alan Kilshaw. The referee for this afternoon's game is Gareth Ewer. My name's Joanne Fitzpatrick, and commentating with me today is Ben Gummersall. Good afternoon, Ben.
Good afternoon, Joanne.
It's a fair old mucky afternoon, isn't it, here with all this rain coming down at the moment, just as we're waiting for the teams to enter the field.
Don't we just love summer rugby league?
Certainly do. Looking down at the pitch, last time Featherstone played a home game here was a few weeks ago against Oldham. It cut out up very badly, did the pitch. No surprise in that game. Just looking at the pitch today, there's areas where it is still cut up a little. We've got a bit of sand towards the railway end. How much of an impact do we think this is going to have on the game today?
It's going to make it an interesting game. I can see it being a very similar type of game to the one we had against Oldham, a real forwards battle. And I think the two fullbacks, Miles Greenwood from Halifax, I believe, the new signing for Rochdale this year, and obviously Ian Hardman as well. They're going to have a massive part to play today under the high ball.
There certainly are. There's, each team will be hunting the error, I guess, this afternoon. It's all about game management, and I'm sure that John Sharp will be looking from Anthony Thackeray and Matty Wilde to be popping those kicks, and Michael Knowles popping those kicks into the corners, letting the opposing team bring it out from deep within their own half and hunt the mistake.
As will, of course, Lewis Palfrey and Daniel Yates for the Rochdale Hornets. We know the damage those two can do. Obviously, Lewis Palfrey played for Oldham last year in that game over at Staley Bridge when Oldham beat us. He's a real danger man in that Oldham team. But the thing that's impressed me most of all this year has been the halfbacks of Featherstone Rovers. They've got they're only 5 competitive games in today. So they've had the 4 pre-season games, 4 matches today in the league. But look at the understanding they've got between each other already. Matty Wilde and Anthony Thackeray, the understanding, the link-up play between them both. It's one of the standout reasons why Featherstone Rovers are joint top of the league at the minute.
And John Sharp obviously agrees with you, because he's kept that half-back pairing consistent at the beginning of this campaign, and that's something we're not seeing down at Featherstone Rovers quite a number of seasons, isn't it? A regular half-back pairing.
Well, we know what happened last year, of course, with the injury problems, which limited John Sharp very much in what he could do in terms of the half-backs. First of all, it was Kyle Briggs, then it was out, then it was Anthony Thackeray, then it was both of them. And he had people like Danny Craven having to fill in, and it wreaked havoc in this Featherstone Rovers team. And that, I think that had an effect at one point as to why Rovers struggled as much as they did.
Rochdale just entering the field at the moment, closely followed by Featherstone Rovers. Percy the pit pony doing a cartwheel. He's not bothered about the muddy conditions out there. So
I wish I could do cartwheels, I'll tell you.
Especially dressed as a pony. Of course, he's real, isn't he?
He is a real pony, so that makes it even more impressive.
So the Featherstone Rovers and Rochdale Hornets teams are just going to line up with the mascots for the photo shoot. Gareth Ewer, the referee, coming out there. Touch judges are Mr. Thompson and Mr. Manifield this afternoon.
Mr. Hewer, of course, referee does a couple of weeks ago at Batley.
Yes.
He was a bit whistle happy, shall we say.
Yes, I think especially in that first half, we certainly had quite a number of penalties, didn't we? And we of course we had that 10 minutes for Michael Knowles in the sin bin. We won't be wanting a repeat. Featherstone Rovers won't be wanting a repeat of that today.
What Featherstone Rovers need to do though from that is learn from that. They've now had Mr. Hewer already this year. They know how his style of refereeing, how it's changed this year, and they've got to learn from that Batley game and make sure today that they don't fall foul of him.
This is true, and Featherstone Rovers are going to be playing towards the Post Office Road end in this first half, and they're going to kick off to Rochdale, so down the slope in the first half.
Indeed, it looks like Michael Knowles, I think, is going to be kicking off. So it's Featherstone Rovers against Rochdale Hornets live from the Big Fellas Stadium. So Michael Knowles with that kickoff. It's a high kickoff, it's deep. It's taken on the full though by Palfrey, who moves that ball in field. And here come the Hornets now. That's a good first tackle though from Featherstone Rovers. Mariano, Richard Moore and Johnny Davis all in there. And here's that second drive in of the set now for the Hornets. It's Taylor. The ball's worked out towards that right-hand side, the Rochdale right, but good defence again from Rovers. Pinning Rochdale back on their own 30-metre line now. Ball's worked in field again, and Rovers, it's good defence.
Good tackle there by Frankie Mariano, wasn't it? And again.
2 tackles in a row from Mariano, it's the last. So it's a kick from Acton half from Daniel Yates. A poor kick, though, straight into the hands of Scott Turner. And he'll take those all day.
Yeah, it was a good set of defensive 6 by Featherstone Rovers. Rochdale didn't get out of their own half. And Daniel Yates put the kick in. It sort of went a little bit up in the air, only went about 10 metres. And Featherstone caught it on their own 40. So they're in the Rochdale half already with Luke Briscoe.
So Luke Briscoe, a couple of metres outside the Rochdale 40. There's the first penalty of the afternoon. Rochdale holding on just a little bit too long in the tackle there. Jovilissi Tyra, one of the offenders.
Yeah, Luke Briscoe, he was trying to get up to play the ball, and Tyra was just holding on to him that a little bit too long.
So Rovers then with the first opportunity of this game in attack. Carlisle takes that tap. Wildy moves it on to Mariano now. Mariano, but he's put the ball down on that first tackle. That'll disappoint John Sharp. But I think we mentioned it early doors, Joe, the conditions playing a part there.
Conditions terrible. The ball will be like a bar of soap out there. You got to respect that. Mariano was going forward. Featherstone were in a great position as they try and pull the Rochdale player into touch. Not quite made it. Mariano put his hand up to say sorry. It was the first tackle, and Ben Morse came up with that ball gratefully.
Here's Robert Massam, a new signing this year from the Crusaders, I believe. And here's Gary Middlehurst now, another new signing from Oldham as well. This Rochdale side's littered at the moment. And here are the Hornets over on that far side, on the Rovers 40. The ball's worked out to the right again. That's up to halfway. I think we're on the close to the last tackle, if not. No, yes, that is the last. So the ball is back with Lewis Palfrey. That's a kick over the top. It's a better kick over the top. Ian Hardman there, as he'd come to expect from Ian Hardman now. Returns that ball well, beats one man, but can't beat the next 2. So Rochdale just going through the motions, really, aren't they? Just completing their early sets, getting the kicks away. And that's what Rovers need to do.
It certainly is, yeah. That's what they did there. They got the set of 6. They got the kick in. Ian Harmon took it on his own 10 metres. Coming out with Jason Walton on this right-hand flank for Featherstone Rovers here. And he's made it over the 40-metre line. And the ball's played across there to Matty Wildy, who shows a dummy. But he is wrapped up there by Tyra and Gavin Benyon. So the ball's coming over to the left with Featherstone Rovers. Goes to John Davis. But he's tackled it. They're into the Rochdale half. Featherstone Rovers, it's the last tackle. It goes to Knowles, who chips it over the top. I think he was looking for touch there. It's going to be held up in the dead ball area. No, it's not. It goes dead. So So Miles Greenwood brings it back for a quick 20-metre tap.
I thought that was going to hold up, then it just looked a bit slowing up, didn't it?
It did. I wasn't sure if he was going for touch or whether he was going for it to hold up. Either would have been great. As it is, oh, there's the penalty given though. Keil Carlisle it was that was holding down, and he's trying to appeal to the ref to say that his arm was being held, but the referee Hewer says no, I'm sorry. So Rochdale are going to kick this to touch, and the tap will be 5 metres short of halfway.
5 minutes short of halfway.
With 5 minutes gone in the game.
Fair enough. So here are the Hornets then inside the Rovers half. Driving that ball forward is Gavin Benyon, a former Rover, of course.
Yeah, he had one game, didn't he, in the John Bastian era, just on loan from Warrington.
He did indeed. And here's Sam Wild now. The Hornets just outside the Rovers 30. So that ball's worked inside now with Gary Middlehurst.
Frankie Mariano put in some really good hits in so far in the early stages of this game in the middle of the field.
And here's the ball out on that right-hand side now with Palfrey. Tries to dance through, but is well held in the end. Here's the last tackle. There's a scoot. It's a great kick through from Ben Moores, but just a little bit too much on it. Rovers are going to get a restart on the 20.
That was really well watched by Ian Hardman. Was that kick through? It was a tricky kick by Ben Moores. It could have caused problems, but Ian Hardman watched it all the way over the dead ball line. So Featherstone with this tap, and they've got up to the 30-metre mark.
First drive from Scott Turner. Here goes Luke Briscoe. Oh, that's silly play from Rochdale Hornets there. Obviously, the tackle completed, and a really obvious second attempt there over on this near side. Just giving Featherston easy meters and a brand new set, and Rovers now with a tap from Carlisle. Here goes Walton. On halfway now for Featherston Rovers. 4 men in the tackle to close Jason Walton down.
He needs 4
and
men
again,
in the
another
tackle.
slow play of the ball. Mr. Hewer again. Rochdale need to be careful with this, Joanne. We know how Gareth Hewer was a fortnight ago. If Rochdale aren't careful, they're going to end up in trouble here.
Well, there were 4 men on Jason Walton. I was just going to say he needs 4 men on him because he's such a strong player. But because 4 men were there, they were just taking an age to get off him, and Mr. Hewer penalised it. So we need to see what Featherston Rovers do with this set of 6 after this penalty. That's another penalty.
Yeah, it's calling the captain out, I think, now.
Yeah.
Time's called off.
So that was the ball that was stolen from Richard Moore there. So yeah, the ball was stolen in the tackle. It's the 3rd penalty on the bounce against Rochdale, and they're on a team warning of Rochdale there. He's had a chat with Lewis Palfrey. He's put them on the warning. We saw this happen with Featherstone Rovers against Batley, didn't we?
Oh, come on.
Mariano was looking for a quick tap, but Keil Carlisle wasn't put Mariano through. But Mr. Hewer said, you've not taken it from the right place.
Mr. Carlisle, Keil Carlisle and Mr. Hewer just exchanging a bit of a smile between them there. Here's Johnny Davis now, though.
So what Featherstone Rovers will be after now, as they're on the Rochdale 20, is a good completed set.
And that's off the Hornets player. Surely it's a knock-on. Scott Turner picks up. It is going to be a knock-on. It's not, but it was passed forward by the Hornets. So his referee is going to bring it back. It'll be a scrum down head and feed on the Featherston Rovers 30. We've had 8 minutes here at the Big Fella Stadium. It's still Featherston Rovers 0, Rochdale 0.
It's not got going yet, has it, this game? Yeah, we're not sure about where the knock-on was taken because we thought the knock-on was it was patted back nearer to the 20, but the scrum's been set on the 30. But Featherston Rovers with Josh Hardcastle. He gets wrapped up well by Gary Middlehurst. It comes, misses Walton out, comes into the middle with Richard Moore.
Great run from Richard
Moore. Moore's 15 metres away from the Rochdale line. It comes over to the left with Mariano. It goes to Thackeray, and Rochdale go for the intercept, but they missed that ball, so they knock it onto the floor. So it's going to be yet another scrum to Featherstone Rovers. Lots of territory and possession for Featherstone Rovers at the moment, but just unable to complete these sets for one reason or another.
At least he's put scrum down in the right place this time.
That's true, yeah. It's 15 metres away from the Rochdale line is this scrum.
Rovers have got a great opportunity here, Joanne, to build some pressure on this Rochdale team as Anthony Thackeray feeds the scrum. South to the base from Carlisle to Matty Wilde. He finds Chris Alunga. Chris Alunga 12 metres out under those sticks. Plays the ball to Carlisle. Ball comes left to Thackeray again. Thackeray, but that ball's put down by Featherstone Rovers. Is that Mariano again?
It is Mariano. It was a really short, fast pass from Thackeray to Mariano. I'm not sure if that's the best style of play to employ in these conditions because the ball is such, like we said, it's so slippy out there. And on the second tackle, we've not completed yet again. Perhaps it's more up your jumper, drive it up the middle kind of weather.
It's got to be about completing your sets, hasn't it? Even at that end of the field, get towards the end of your set, get to the fourth and fifth tackle, then look to try something like that. Well,
Rochdale will take a lot from this. They've survived 3 consecutive penalties and a team warning and 2 consecutive scrums against them deep in their half. So they'll feel good about that passage of play there.
Look at that defence from Featherstone Rovers.
They've come up pointless of Rochdale there. So Rochdale, like you say, being driven back by Featherstone Rovers. They're 35 metres away from their own line.
Josh Hardcastle's got a point to prove today, and he's certainly trying to prove it as Tyra takes the ball in. We're on the last tackle, so Palfrey will kick. It's over the top. Scott Turner retreats to take it on his own 10-metre line. He'll return that ball. He'll make 10 metres before he's tackled centre field. So Anthony Thackeray attacked in half-back now. He'll move that ball to the right to Ian Hardman. Hardman makes about another 5 metres before, again, 3 men in the tackle. And here goes Scott Turner again. 2 drives in 3 tackles for Scott Turner. Rovers just shy of their own 40-metre line now.
I think the ball has been lost, though, by Scott Turner. Tyre has come up with it. And then there's a one-on-one steal by Michael Knowles. But the referee is going to bring it back to the 40-metre line and put a scrum to Rochdale from that first knock-on.
I thought he knocked that on actually on the 40 myself, but I'm not arguing Mr. Hewer on that occasion. We're taking back a couple of meters further. But it certainly is a scrappy opening 10, 11 minutes, isn't it?
It is, and in this weather, it's to be expected, isn't it? It's these games. We've talked about it before. It's who grinds it out the best.
So that scrum is fed by Daniel Yates, and here's that first drive in for the Hornets from Jack Holmes. Ben Moores waits. That's in half. Rovers there penalised for offside. I could see Gareth, you were watching us then.
I think it could have been Richard Moore that just crept in front. To be fair, they're going to go for 2 with Rochdale as well. To be fair, the Rochdale player did sort of like dummy to play the ball a little bit, and I think that's the reason in Richard Moore's defence why he'd crept forward. But we've seen plenty of penalties again, haven't we, in this opening 12 minutes?
Very whistle happy, shall we say, is Mr. Hewer this season. So an early chance for Rochdale to get some early points on the board. We've had 12 minutes here at the Big Fella Stadium. Just trying to see who it is that's going to be kicking.
I think it's Lewis Palfrey out there, isn't it, that's doing the kicking for them.
It is indeed. It's Lewis Palfrey. So there's the kick. Straight between the uprights it goes. And it's first blood to the Hornets. With 12 and a half minutes gone, it's Featherstone Rovers 0. Rochdale 2.
Yeah, it's against the run of play, really. If you were talking about territory and possession, Featherstone Rovers have had the lion's share in this opening 10 to 12 minutes, but not being able to convert it into points. So, as I said, Rochdale would take a lot from that. As soon as they've got up that field, they've got a penalty and they've converted it into points quite gratefully.
So, Michael Knowles will kick off. It's another high kick off. It's taken, though, by Daniel Yates, who moves that ball in field again. And that's a good first drive in from Gavin Benyon. But good defence on Rovers to push him back. So here are the Hornets now. But Rovers pinning them back in their own 20 at the moment. Ball comes in field. Here's Palfrey again. Runs straight at Richard Moore. Not something I'd want to do myself, but, you know, each to their own. And here's Ben Moores now. Moves that ball out to the right-hand side. Scott Turner's dropped back up. Sorry, Luke Briscoe's dropped back on this near side now. But again, the ball goes over to that far side. But good defence, but no, and it's a knock on.
Great tackle by Anthony Thackeray there, ball and all. He met the Rochdale player full on and caused him to lose the ball. I think it was Ben Moores, the Rochdale player that was in possession at the time, and just through the ferocity of that tackle, the ball came loose, and that was good play. This is chance for Featherstone Rovers now. They're on the 40-metre line, the Rochdale 40-metre line with this scrum.
So we're going to have a full set in the Rochdale 40 now. Do you go through the tackles and try and get the territory, or do you try and work it out wide?
I think you want to be driving it up the middle for the first few, as we see Chris Alunya in the middle there with it, and now Jason Walton coming onto the ball strongly as he does. He's such a strong runner. 25 metres out from the Rochdale line.
That could have been a penalty.
Goes out to the left. That looked a forward pass a little bit from Richard Moore to John Davis, but it's not being picked up. It looked a bit suspect. 15 metres away, it goes to the left with Thackeray. Thackeray goes to Mariano, runs out from the outside. 5 metres away with a couple of tackles left in this set. Featherstone, Rochdale all over Frankie Mariano, but the referee doesn't give anything. Goes to the left to Hardman. Hardman's hold down, 2 metres short.
Good defence there from Rochdale.
Last tackle. It's a kick from Carlisle, but it just manages to scramble through with that kick. Does kill Carlisle, and he forces a dropout. So that's a good set of 6 from Featherstone Rovers.
That's better. That's what you want to see. A good kick. Maybe not the option that Rovers will have wanted there, perhaps, but kick through. They've got a repeat set, and we always say, if you can't score a try, get a repeat set, pin them back, and it gives you another opportunity to build, doesn't it?
I think it's excellent, because when we spoke to Kyle Briggs after the game for post-match reaction the other week, he said how difficult it was executing these dropouts. And as we see, it goes along the floor because it sticks in the mud, does a dropout, and it makes it up to the 30-metre line to Ian Hardman. So it's a good ploy to force dropouts in this weather. So it goes to Wildy. Over to Walton, who throws the ball up, but Briscoe picks it up. He does well there because it was on the floor. It's back to 1. And Briscoe gets rid of the ball, but it goes to a Rochdale player. But I think the referee will bring it back for the first offence, which was the knock-on by Rochdale. The referee had wiped the tackle count clean as it came out.
And there's a penalty
dissent by Gary Middlehurst. So penalty to Featherstone Rovers. They're going for the tap. They're not going for the 2. It was under the sticks. So John Davis takes it up to the 10-metre line. Ball's played. It comes out to the right with Wildy. Wildy to Walton. Walton to Hardcastle, who's driving towards the line. He gets rid of the ball, though, and it goes into touch. This is the problem out on the flanks. The Rochdale players are coming in and looking to force the centres and the wingers of Featherstone Rovers into touch.
I'm not sure that was the best option to come down that short side on that play. Josh Hardcastle realised where he was going, tried to offload that ball back, but unable to do so. And we've had 16 minutes here at the Big Fella Stadium, 17, sorry. It's still Featherstone Rovers 0, Rochdale 2. And it's a scrum down on the Rochdale 10, which is fed by Yates. And here come the Hornets now. Rovers fans over on that far side appealing for a knock-on.
I think what Featherstone need to do when they're in that attacking position near the Rochdale line is employ the up the middle tactics, and then perhaps think about Rochdale piling the players out to the flanks when there's a player out on the flank, and then bring it back on the inside instead of going out to the flanks and sell them the dummy.
A bit like the Aluja try against in that corner up against Oldham.
Yes.
Good thinking, back girl.
But I'm not a coach.
Here are the Hornets, just inside their own 40 then. 10 metres in from touch. Yates is going to find the put boot to ball. He'll find Ian Hardman though, who picks up just outside his own 20 and returns up to the 30. Hardman then plays the ball to Thackeray. Thackeray moves that ball out wide to Scott Turner. It's a winger, but he's almost like a forward as well, the way he comes in looking for work. Carlisle now. Here's Briscoe as well. He bounces off one.
That's another one.
Another 5 metres, Luke Briscoe. Looks at the referee, says, how is that not a penalty? Here's Richard Moore now.
Ooh.
Moore offloads that ball, but Rovers slow to react to that.
Yeah, Alunya and Knowles were looking at each other there, I think, as to who were going to pick that ball up. The ball comes out to Wildy, who kicks it forward. It's being chased well there by Hardcastle, but the Rochdale player just gets to it in time. Robert Massam, and he's in touch. So that was a great tackle by Luke Briscoe.
Great play on this near side from Featherston Rovers there. Josh Hardcastle and Luke Briscoe in the defensive line, chasing that kick down, forcing the error. Rovers, like you say, with 20 minutes gone, plenty of territory. Defensive effort, you can't fault that. They just need to take one of these chances, don't we?
Well, it was an innocuous looking kick there from Matty Wildy, but it held up in the ground. Rob Massam picked the ball up. He decided to come out onto his left wing, and but it was the chase from Josh Hardcastle that forced him to do that as Ian Hartman beats the first Rochdale player there. Featherston 28 metres away from the Rochdale line with John Davis, who puts a lovely sidestep in there.
Dancing Davis.
It was good and nifty footwork from him. He plays the ball 15 metres out to Thackeray. Thackeray's taking it forward, and there's the penalty.
That's clever play. Anthony Thackeray knew exactly what he was doing there, Joanne. He saw that the Hornets were offside. He knew which one it was. Knew the markers weren't square, ran straight at them. And here's Richard Moore now. Rovers now. 6 tackles pending that Rovers 10-metre area. Needs to make this count. Carlisle goes. It's knocked on. Oh, Gareth Ewer says that Carlisle's knocked that ball on. But Rovers, we've got 20 minutes gone. It's still Rochdale leading 2-0. What did Featherston have to do to score, Joanne?
Not knock on over the line, I think. Gareth Ewer was right there looking at that. Carlisle, it was a good idea of his to scoot from dummy half. But in trying to get that ball down over the line, the ball came loose. Like I say, Gareth Ewer right there to watch that. So Rochdale, yet again, bringing it out on the their own 40-metre line. Featherston Rovers, wall of defence waiting to meet them. Still 2-0 to Rochdale.
And here are the Hornets now driving that ball in. They've made a change. Matty Haddon's come on. Didn't see that happen. There's a kick from Yates. Luke Briscoe, safe as houses underneath that, takes that on the full.
Looked really cool there when he took it, Luke Briscoe.
Quick play the ball, and here come Rovers now.
It's a good tackle there by Rob Massam on Matty Wildy. He'll have felt that.
Hardcastle now takes that ball in as Rovers ring the changes. This is what Rovers fans want to see. Andy Bostock coming on now, and Darryl Griffin. We know the impact Bostock can make off the bench. There's a high tackle, though.
Yeah, Rich Moore and Frankie Mariano leaving the field. I think John Davis felt that. He's shaking his head a bit. I think it rattled his head a little bit. Did that high tackle. So the referee stopped the clock while he just received some attention down there from the physio.
Yes, it was a swinging arm. No doubt about that at all. The swinging arm from the Hornets. So it is going to be a penalty for Rovers. Keil Carlisle has the ball in hand. He will find touch on the Hornets 40.
Matty Wildy, that is, that's kicked a touch.
So Carlisle then finds Wildy again. Here goes Bostock. It's well met though by his opposite substitute, Matty Haddon. 3 men in that Rochdale tackle. Bostock plays the ball to Carlisle, sees a gap and goes for it.
Great play by Carlisle.
Plays the ball now to Wildy. Here's Thackeray now. Shows the ball, goes himself, offloads left to Davis. Davis trying to find a gap. Well wrapped up though by the Hornets. On that 20-metre line, 15 metres in from touch. Here goes Darryl Griffin now. Griffin pumping those legs. Rovers 10 metres out. Under the sticks. Carlisle comes right to Wildy. Wildy finds Jason Walton. Walton to Hardman.
It's a
forward pass.
Oh.
And it was forward as well, Joe.
It was a lovely move if it hadn't have been a forward pass there, Ben. Lovely move there between Mariano and Hardman, but the pass just wasn't on the money, was it? And it went forward to Hardman, and we could tell it was a forward pass from up here, couldn't we? And so it's Rochdale survive again. That Featherstone Rovers onslaught, it's going to be Rochdale scrum on their own 10 metres line with 16 minutes remaining in this first half.
Still Featherstone Rovers 0, Rochdale 2. The Hornets then feed the scrum. They come down this short side. And here's a drive in field now from Jake Eccleston. Still pending their own 20 though. 2 tackles in. Good defence from Rovers though. 3 in the tackle every time. Not giving the Hornets opportunity at all.
Looks like James Lockwood's going to be entering the field very soon for Featherstone Rovers. He's stripped off down there, ready to come on.
So here are the Hornets then. That ball swung out to that right-hand side. Through the hands it goes. They're still in their own half though. 5 metres. There's an offload though. Here goes Palfrey. He's over halfway. Is Palfrey. Almost up to the 40. Here's that last tackle. There's a kick from Yates. It bounces off Rovers.
Could have been a bit testing that for Rovers. John Davis saved the day. I think it was Thackeray who stuck a leg out on that kick, and it slowed the ball up, and Rochdale were chasing it, but Davis retrieved it well. So Featherstone bringing it away, 35 metres away from their own line.
Johnny Davis is the man who's coming off to be replaced by James Lockwood. And here are Rovers now just short of halfway. Darryl Griffin plays that ball to Carlisle. Here's Thackeray. Shapes the kick, goes himself, offloads to Knowles. Alongia's down the outside. Oh, he's taken it, he's held on. What? I thought for all the world then that ball had been knocked on over on that far side by Turner. Rovers fans over there not happy with something at all, and the clock's called off to him.
That was a great move by Featherstone Rovers. The ball from Thackeray, held it up lovely, passed it to Michael Knowles, got it out to Alunya, who in turn got it to Turner, who looked all the world to be going in for a try. There was a clear path ahead of him, but the pass just wasn't the best. He either overrun it or it was behind him. He had to reach back. He was on the floor near the touchline, and the Rochdale players came in while he was on the floor. Featherstone Rovers fans over on that far side reacted. The referee, Mr. Hugh, has been to speak to the touch judge about it. The touch judge was right there.
Somebody out.
The touch judge didn't wave his flag immediately, though, did he? So I don't know if he was just having a conversation with Mr. Hewer while Scott Turner was having. It's going on report. There's certainly the Featherstone Rovers fans in that family stand over on the far side, extremely unhappy with what went on there. But Featherstone here with the tap, 15 metres away from the Rochdale line with Andy Bostock. Bring it up the middle, 12 metres away now. Plays the ball, comes out. Lockwood with his first touch. It goes back on up the middle with Jason Walton, who's looking to offload, but nobody there to offload it to free, and it goes out to the left with Thackeray. Thackeray brings it to Alunya. Rochdale on that right-hand side, their defence is holding up firm. So Featherstone still 10 metres away. It comes to Lockwood, who brings to him. Goes with his knees forward, and he's
3 metres with his knees.
Yeah, Alan Mickey Gibbons comes short now, and Rochdale come out of the line and touch it. It's coming out. It's a free play. Comes to Hardcastle. Hardcastle near to the line. He's just put hold down short. Must be inches short. It's back to 1. So now, it's back to 1.
Matty doesn't know.
Oh, Matty Wildy. It's back to 1, and he's gone to put a kick through, a grubber kick, and then had another set of 6, did Featherstone there. And the ball's gone dead, so Rochdale are going to have a tap on the 20.
Matty Wilde obviously didn't see or hear the referee's call, then thought it was the last tackle. Oh, Rovers. The Rovers enemies at the minute, aren't we?
Certainly are, yeah. It's one of those things that makes a coach put his head in his hands, I think, is that.
It's what you call a coach killer, I think. And here are the Hornets now, though, a let-off for Rochdale Hornets. They'll just bring this ball out at the minute. Again with Matty Haddon. They made another interchange of Rochdale, and it's Danny Bridge who's come on. That was a flat pass, and the Hornets move into the Rovers half now. Palfrey with a drop-off pass again, and here are the Hornets inside the Rovers 40. We're on the last tackle now. Rovers clear that ruck. So it's Daniel Yates. He'll put the kick through. What a take from Matty Wilde.
He's slightly redeemed himself there, hasn't he?
That was a goalkeeper-style take, wasn't it?
It was. Good reactions.
Here's Lou Briscoe now. He plays the ball to Hardcastle and Jason Walton. I'll tell you, it's not a high-scoring game, but it really is.
It's not a boring game.
No. Here's Andy Bostock. So Matty Wilde that was his last action so far today. There's a kick through from Thackeray. It's a great kick. We've got the introduction of Corey Aston for Matty Wilde now, Joanne.
Yeah, competitive debut for Featherstone Rovers for Corey Aston. He said in the pre-match interviews he was looking forward to having some support from the fans at Featherstone instead of stick. Because he's been on the receiving end when playing for Sheffield a few times.
Just a few times. And now Rovers penalised for not being square at the play of the ball.
Featherstone penalised there for not being square at the play of the ball. So that good kick by Anthony Thackeray and the good chase has been undone somewhat as Rochdale kick to touch. They're going to take a tap about 40 metres away from their own line. And they're going to get another set of 6 here.
And here are the Hornets then, just shy of halfway. We've got just coming up to 10 minutes left here in the first half at the Big Fellas Stadium. Still Featherstone Rovers 0, Rochdale Hornets 2. Just that one penalty goal for offside from Rochdale. And now they made another interchange. They brought on Jay Lobween in attacking half-back. So Palfrey, through the hands it goes. Yates. That's worked out well on this near side. Here's Jake Eccleston. But he's well wrapped up by Jason Walton.
Great tackle from Walton was that.
Yates again now moves that ball in field. Rochdale working the hands. They're on that last tackle.
Jason Walton injured on the floor, so Featherstone down to 12.
And the Hornets are trying to exploit that gap, but the ball's come loose. I heard the call underneath is watch that short side, watch that short side.
And there's a Rochdale player down there as well in quite a lot of injury, and Jason Walton's going to have to leave the field. The Featherstone Rovers physio has indicated that he needs to leave the field. I said it was a hard tackle that he put in, and he's come off the worst. And then we've got a Rochdale player down out of the Featherstone line, and he's injured as well. So it's
a head injury, says the physio for Jason Walton.
Yeah. Yeah, he's, like I say, it was a hard tackle, and I think as he's gone in, he's perhaps his head has gone into contact with the Rochdale player.
So it's going to be a concussion interchange for Jason Walton. Johnny Davis hasn't had much of a rest, I'm afraid, John.
He's fit, is John Davis. He can cope with it.
But no, Jason Walton will be withdrawn. It is a concussion interchange. Is it 15 minutes to get to assess him?
I do believe so. I think so.
So they'll have 25 minutes to assess him then, including the half-time interval. So he will have until 5 minutes into the second half to come back out. And if he does, it will class as a free interchange.
The Rochdale player's back on his feet. So it'll be a Featherstone Rovers play the ball on their own 10-metre line. Just need to wait until Jason Walton leaves the field. He's walking quite
very gingerly.
Yeah, I don't think he's quite here with us at the moment, is he? and he's got a bloody nose as well. So all the best to Jason as he leaves the field, and James Lockwood brings the ball up 15 metres away from his own line. And it goes to Darryl Griffin. So the forwards are bringing it up the middle of the field. And Keil Carlisle is caught at dummy half there by Rochdale, so that was good defence from Rochdale. And Thackeray shows, and he breaks. Thackeray's through, and Hardman's there supporting Hardman gets tackled though, 20 metres short of the Rochdale line. There's the penalty.
The card's out.
And it's a professional foul.
The card is out.
So Rochdale, I think, is it Daniel Yates there that's going to leave for 10 minutes for Rochdale? That was a great break there, though, by Anthony Thackeray, wasn't it?
What a beautiful break it was from Anthony Thackeray. He threw a dummy superbly. The seas parted. He went through the gap like a knife through butter. Made fully 40 metres. The inside pass to Ian Hardman. Hardman had Corey Aston on his shoulder as well. But Corey Aston unfortunately ran the wrong side. It's Daniel Yates who's in the sin bin for the Hornets.
Yeah, I thought it was.
That's the scrum half, so that's going to have an effect on their play for the next 10 minutes.
It is, and Featherstone need to use that best to their advantage. But yeah, Hardman, ever reliable, isn't he, there, supporting Anthony Thackeray. It was no surprise to see him, but just hold down short. Daniel Yates came in as the second tackler, didn't clear the ruck. Hardman was looking to play the ball quickly in broken play, was prevented from doing so. So Gareth Ewer quite rightly sent Daniel Yates to the sin bin. And like you say, scrum half, it's an important position for Rochdale.
As Michael Knowles kicks the goal, so it's low level. It's Rovers 2, Rochdale 2. And I'm going to give credit as well to Joanne, if I can, to Corey Aston, because he was backing up Ian Hardman as well. And unfortunately, though, he did just go the wrong side of Ian Hardman to take an offload from Ian, but his alertness to get up there and try and support Ian Hardman was superb.
Yeah, it's good to see that you have plenty of supporting players. That's the mark of a good player, one that wants to, who reads the play, one who's always there to back up just in case there's a sniff of something. And that's why Hardman is rated so highly within the game.
So we've got 7.5 minutes left. It's Rovers 2, the Hornets 2. And Rochdale now are going to kick off. It's a long kick-off. It's taken easily enough, though, by who else but Ian Hardman, who moves that ball in field. And here are Rovers now.
4 Rochdale players on Andy Bostock there.
Takes a lot to put down, doesn't it? And here are Rovers on bringing that ball out.
Yeah, Lockwood's seen plenty of the action, isn't he, early on as well?
Michael Knowles. Ever reliable with the boot, Michael Knowles this afternoon. Kicking that goal for us. And here's Darryl Griffin now.
Well, before the game today, he'd kicked 13 out of 15. He was on an 87% completion rate.
Anthony Thackeray with that kick over the top. It's central, so is it going to hold up? Hold up. No, it's not. Unlucky. If that had just been a little bit shorter, that would have held up perfectly. But as it is, the Hornets start on their own 20.
Yeah, it was a decent enough kick. That's a good defence by Featherstone. There's, I think, 3 Featherstone players pushing the Rochdale player back to the 20-metre line. So the Featherstone blue and white line is looking pretty firm at the moment in defence.
Here are Rochdale Hornets now bringing that ball out the 35 metres out from their own line. Centre field. A slow play of the ball. And there's a scoot there from Lobwayne. Through the hands it comes out to this far side.
Got some men over here.
That's a great play. And it's a break down this near side, I think, with Jordan Case. But what a tackle that was. A quick play of the ball. It was Johnny Davis in the tackle. But here are the Hornets again. And Rochdale, I think, are over with Danny Bridge. So it's a Rochdale try for Danny Bridge. 15 metres in from touch on this left-hand side. We've got 5.5 minutes left here in the first half, and it's Featherstone Rovers 2, Rochdale Hornets 6.
Just as I was saying, that the Featherstone Rovers blue and white defence was holding firm. It didn't. Rochdale came out to the left-hand side. They had men over. It was 3 against 2. Josh Hardcastle, perhaps a little bit too much into the centre of the field, had left Luke Briscoe exposed. The player went round, Rob Massey, I think it was, went round him, but Ian Hardman was there to meet him, and John Davies came in to effect the tackle. However, it was a quick play of the ball. It was broken play in terms of the defence. They went one way, came back the other way, did Rochdale Hornets. And Danny Bridge gratefully took the ball and went over that line. So Rochdale taking the lead once again here at the Big Fella Stadium, and that's with 12 men as well, Ben.
That's the disappointing thing. It's not the fact that the Rochdale teams can work overlaps. You accept that as part of the game of rugby league. But when you're an attacking team of 13, defending team of 13 against an attacking team of 12, to be caught short and for that attacking team to work on offload, that's going to disappoint John Sharp, surely.
Well, especially when the attacking team's got one man less and they end up with a man over in attack against the defence. As that kick goes through the post there from Palfrey. So that makes Featherstone Rovers go even further behind here. It's Featherstone Rovers 2, Rochdale Hornets 8, with 4 minutes left to half time.
Don't do it easy, do we?
Certainly do. No.
So Michael Knowles will restart this game. Rovers have dominated this match territorially. And then just as they get themselves on terms and you start thinking, right, build on that. If you can't score any more points, at least get to half-time level against 12 men, and then that happens. So there's the kickoff. It's taken by the Hornets, and here's that return. Rovers need to pin the Hornets back here now. Here's Matty Haddon. That ball's worked in field. Good defence though from Rovers. That ball's worked out towards that right-hand side. Anthony Thackeray involved in that tackle. That was a suspect pass, I think.
Yeah, flat at best, I think. Looked quite forward.
And here are the Hornets now. This is tackle 4.
Great tackle there by Daryl Griffin.
Here's the last. So Palfrey with the kick over the top. Who's there? Who else but Ian Hardman? Takes it on the second bounce and returns it. 12 metres made. He'll start just outside his own 20 now. Thackeray attacked in half-back. Moves that ball out to Turner. Turner makes it up to his own 30-metre line.
And the rain is still teeming down here, isn't it? It's terrible conditions.
Here's Chris Alongi now. Thackeray. From that's in half, he finds Darryl Griffin. Griffin looks for support. Bostock puts that ball down. And again, but so do Walden. So come back for the first knock on. And a prop forward passing to a prop forward who can't catch the ball.
Well, Darryl Griffin, to be fair, he'd got free. He was able to pass the ball. He was looking for somebody to pass to. Andy Bostock was there. But all credit to Jake Eccleston there from Rochdale. He got in Andy Bostock's face and he made sure that Bostock was looking at him rather than at the ball. And that's when Bostock ended up spilling it. So yeah, Rochdale are going to put this ball in just short of the halfway line, just inside their own half. And Gary Middlehurst taking it himself, just makes it over the halfway line.
The ball is played for the Hornets. And here's another attack down this left-hand side. It's an inside pass. Lobway attacks in half-back, moves that ball on. That's a good drive in there from Matt Haddon. The Hornets, 25 metres out under those sticks. Lobway again. That ball's worked out through the right-hand side, but Alunga with the tackle. Read that superbly. Here's the last tackle now for Rochdale Hornets. On the Rovers 20, it's Palfrey. Talked about game management before the game, Joanne, how important it was going to be for the halfbacks, and that's great game management from Lewis Palfrey.
It was good pressure from Michael Knowles on the kicker, Lewis Palfrey, but he still managed to get that kick away and into touch put it deep into touch, and it's going to be a scrum. Featherstone Rovers scrum on that 10-metre line. Referees just stopped the clock. Rochdale taking quite a while to pack this scrum down, and still they're taking a long time to pack the scrum down. Time back on, and the steam coming from that scrum. It's so wet out there. So Featherstone Rovers 15 metres away from their own line, coming out to that right hand side with Josh Hardcastle, but he's wrapped up well there by Jack Francis for Rochdale. It comes to John Davis. John Davis takes it. He knocks Middlehurst to the ground.
He's like
but
a battering ram, isn't he?
He is, but there's two other Rochdale players in there on that tackle. Could have been done for holding down Rochdale there, but they haven't. It goes to Bostock, and Anthony Thackeray takes the ball fantastically. He tries to get the ball to Alunya, but Rochdale managed to catch it in midair and scramble it. It went backwards, says the ref, because it did go to the floor. But Rochdale now have got the ball, and they're 40 metres away from the Featherstone line, and the Rochdale crowd are in good voice at the moment. They're liking what they see.
It was a great defensive effort there from Rochdale to get in between that pass from Anthony Thackeray out wide, knock it back towards their own line, and not only then to recover that ball, make sure they got that ball back.
Yeah, Rochdale in a dangerous position now in the dying seconds of this first half. The 30 metres away from the Featherstone line. Featherstone will want to go into this half-time interval 6 points behind. It's the last tackle. It comes out with that. And the half-time hooter goes as Danny Bridge is wrapped up by Featherstone Rovers. So Featherstone Rovers with it all to do in the second half. They go into the half-time interval 6 points behind. Featherstone Rovers 2, Rochdale Hornets 8. And the scores when, first of all, 2 Rochdale Hornets in that first half after 12 minutes with Lewis Palfrey kicking a penalty goal against the run of play somewhat. Featherstone had all the territory, all the possession up to that point, but not able to do anything with it. And they'd had all the penalties given to them as well. Then we had to wait quite a long time before we saw any more points on the board. It was after the 30-minute mark when Michael Knowles got a penalty to even the scores up. And then we saw that late try by Danny Bridge after that break down the wing by Rochdale Hornets. It sent the score to 2-6. And Palfrey converted, so Featherstone 6 points behind, as I say. So what are your thoughts on that first half, Ben?
Rovers, for probably about 35 minutes of that match, dominated the territory of the game. A lot of the game was played down in that Rochdale third, but they just couldn't get over that line. Attack after attack, the kick, it was either a kick that was a yard too deep, or something just not going off, or a pass going to ground. And then Rochdale do what all the best teams do. They soaked up all that pressure and then hit Rovers with a real sucker punch with that try just before half-time. 12-man team attacking a 13-man team, managing to get an overlap. That's something John Sharp will not be happy with at all.
I agree. That's the most disappointing thing, as we called it on the commentary, was the fact that Rochdale were down to 12 men. They got the scrum half off the field, and they still managed to create an overlap there on their left-hand side, on our right-hand side of defence. So that would suggest that some players that should have been out there defending our right-hand side had drifted into the middle of the park. So they managed to get themselves into an excellent position with a broken play. Featherstone weren't able to defend that next play, and they went over the line. So yeah, it's perhaps something that we'll talk about at half-time. I haven't seen Daniel Yates come back onto the field yet. I think he's got 2 minutes left, has he?
He left the field with 8 minutes left of that first half, did Daniel Yates. So he's got another 2 minutes left in the sin bin. So Rochdale will start the second half down to 12 men. But where have Rovers been? What's impressed you about Featherstone today?
I think Thackeray's been playing quite well right at the start, Mariano was putting some, when he was on the field, he was putting some really good tackles in. So Mariano's defence, I would say, has been pretty good. It's very difficult to play a game, isn't it, in these conditions? And so I think you'd have to have a look at some of the defensive hits that have been put in for Featherstone Rovers as the highlights, really. But yeah, Thackeray's looked dangerous. He's made a couple of breaks, hasn't he? Now, bit unlucky over on the far side just before half time when he managed to catch the ball behind him, which was a fantastic take, and he got the ball out to Alunya, or he didn't. He tried to get the ball to Alunya. It was the Rochdale player that put himself in a good position to intercept it, and he was very unlucky there.
We also had the break from Thackeray down the middle as well, backed up by Ian Hardman. It was a great piece of play by both, and Ian Hardman had Corey Aston on his wrong shoulder, if you like. Couldn't get the ball away, but again, that came to nothing, and that's really been the story of the half for Rovers. Promising opportunities that just in that final phase, that final pass has just been lacking.
It is, and it's promising for the second half, though. You know, when you look at the positives, that Rochdale aren't impenetrable. We have Featherstone Rovers have been able to get past the first line of defence quite a few times in that first half. They're just not being able to convert it into anything. So for the second half, that does bode quite well. What doesn't bode so well is the fact that the rain's still coming down. It looks to be driving slightly away from or into the faces of Featherstone as they play that second half, and they're going towards the railway end, which of course is slightly up the slope.
Rovers are 4 from 4 at the minute. Can they make it 5 from 5? The half-time score here at the Big Fellas Stadium. Featherstone Rovers 2, Rochdale 8.